loves, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Faith, and today guys I'll be checking out Ben Shapiro, and he'll be doing my favorite affirmative action, meltdowns. And you guys, I'm super excited as always. If you're here to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And without much ado, let's see what Ben has for us in this video.
Well, folks, the Supreme Court has now decided that affirmative action is no longer legal for use in college admissions, and this has ticked off all the right people, including Al Sharpton and Whoopi Goldberg, our nation's great intellectual luminaries. I think some of my favorite response here comes from the president of Columbia. So the president of Columbia, Lee Bollinger, he says test scores are discrimination. You knew they were going in this direction, right? That if you score poorly on a test, this is because of racism, not because maybe you're not as smart as the guy down the hall who scored 300 points higher.
So we know that standardized test scores were introduced many decades ago with the idea that they would help achieve equality of opportunity for students all across the country. It wouldn't depend upon connections, the wealth of your family, etc. You could take the test, and if you did better than people who were well-connected and wealthy, you could get in. So that was the idea of standardized tests. Increasingly, in the past decade or so, it's become fairly clear to everybody that standardized test scores are a way of reinforcing inequality rather than overcoming it.
And so I have a question. Why are they reinforcing inequality? As Bollinger says, the entire design of a test is that it is colorblind. It is literally a question, and you answer the question, and then you get a score.
Yes.
So why is it that they have become now racist when they were not racist to begin? The answer is people are underperforming. People are underperforming based on race. And it's not because they are black. It is because of all the other things that no one wants to actually fix, because people on the left don't give a damn about fixing the problem. All they want to do is bitch about how terrible America is and how racist it is. Because that is how they gain votes. Because it turns out, it's a real easy sell to people. It's not your fault. It's America's fault. That's a super easy sell to people. It's a hard sell? Maybe we ought to break the teachers' unions. Maybe we ought to fix our public schools. Maybe we ought to give more local control to parents. Maybe we ought to teach kids reading, writing, and arithmetic as opposed to garbage CRT, critical race theory. Maybe we should do all those things. They don't want to do all those things. That is their agenda. Their agenda matters more than the result. And when the result is ugly, they blame the test score, blame the metric. This is like deliberately stunting the growth of an entire population by undernourishing them. And then when you find out that everybody is 5 inches shorter than they otherwise would have been, you're like, I hate rulers. Rulers are bad. I really hate tape measures. Those tape measures are racist. Maybe it's not the tape measure that's racist. Maybe it's you. Because you're the ones who are pursuing these garbage policies. And then the Columbia president, again, it's amazing. They're literally saying the things that will then be used in appellate court to challenge their own policies. Here's Lee Bollinger saying a thing that is not legal. He says we have to use affirmative action to correct for past discrimination. That is literally against the opinion of the court. Here he is.
Brown versus Board of Education was a great moment in American history, declaring that the 14th Amendment required equal protection and not separate but equal schooling and other programs in the United States, and set off the civil rights era. That was a great moment, but that was only about stopping racial discrimination. Any kind of effort to overcome the effects of racial discrimination are not allowed, in his view. To Justices Jackson and Sotomayor, and Thurgood Marshall in the Bakke case, this is wrong thinking. That we've had several hundred years of discrimination against African Americans in particular. And we must, as a society, find means to try to correct for that, because they're ongoing. They haven't stopped.
So we have to grade people by race. Good luck with this when Columbia's admissions policy comes up for, I'm sure, judicial review inside the next year or so. Meanwhile, the president of the National Education Association, Rebecca Pringle, of course she doesn't want to actually discuss the actual problems in education. She's just, again, going to say America's racist. That's why there's a disparity, not because you, the head of the NEA, one of the worst unions in America, is responsible for the garbage education that black kids are receiving across the country.
What do you think about this, Becky? How much of an uphill climb is it now if this affirmative action program goes away from a university to actually have a diverse student body in every sense of that word, diversity?
So, just like your other panelists have said already, the headline for today is Access and Opportunity Denied. As John just said, we know that we are stronger, our schools are stronger, our communities are stronger, our country is stronger when we have spaces that reflect all of the diversity of this country. It's what makes us strong. And today's decision is taking us backwards.
Yes, judging people based on race, that's taking us forward. Saying that we should not judge people based on race, that takes us backward. Amazing, amazing stuff. Let's talk about sleep quality. So, as you know, my sleep has been rather disturbed for the past couple of months. Not only do we have a baby, we also have a dog. We have a lot going on in the house. Well, poor sleep can cause weight gain, mood issues, poor mental health, and lower productivity. Sleep is, in fact, the foundation of mental and physical health.
That's true.
Having a consistent nighttime routine is imperative. So if you're struggling with sleep, you need to check out Beam Organics. Beam Organics, they have a top-selling Beam Dream formula. Dream is formulated to help ease your body into rest and support all 4 stages of the sleep cycle with no next-day grogginess. Dream contains a powerful blend of all-natural premium sleep-promoted ingredients and is tested for high-quality efficacy to help you wake up refreshed. Just mix Beam Dream into hot water or milk, stir or froth, and enjoy before bedtime. Today, my listeners get a special discount on Beam's new formula of Dream Powder and their best-selling Healthy Hot Cocoa for Sleep with only 15 calories, no added sugar. Great way to drift off to dreamland. Better sleep has never tasted better. If you want to try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder, get up to 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Ben. Use code Ben at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Ben. Use code Ben for up to 40% off. As July 4th approaches, we are coming together as proud Americans and savoring the delicious taste of homegrown American-made meat. Our friends over at Good Ranchers have the best quality meat you've ever tasted. I know because they made me a kosher steak one time and it was awesome. They only sell meat that was raised right here in the United States. Producer Stabby, every morning she comes in and she's still jabbering about this sirloin steak her husband made for her last week. Like it's over and over and over. At this point, I'm like, Savvy, just stop. We'll get you more meat from Good Ranchers. It's fine. From now until Independence Day, Good Ranchers will be offering the best deals to give you freedom from the meat aisle. From ribeyes, New York strips, all natural burgers to the most delicious chicken you could ever want, Good Ranchers has something for everyone. Plus, right now you get $30 off with our code Ben at goodranchers.com. If you're looking for a way to wow the family during your 4th of July gathering, check out their website recipe of the Texas-style chopped patty melt. So what are you waiting for? Let the mouth-watering aroma of American-made meat fill the air, bringing joy, unity, and independence to your celebrations. Head on over to goodranchers.com. Use our code Ben for $30 off any box. That's promo code Ben at goodranchers.com. Goodranchers.com is American meat delivered. Go check them out right now. Goodranchers.com, promo code Ben. Members of the media doing the same sort of routine. Al Sharpton, who, again, I have no idea why this person is a respected member of the media when he's one of the worst race baiters in American history, one of the most nefarious racial forces in American modern history. Here he is talking about how it's a dagger in the back.
What has gone through your mind in terms of how you believe this will affect specifically the African-American community?
Well, I think that this is tantamount to sticking a dagger in our back, because what they have said now is that it is unconstitutional to even consider race. And given the racial history of the country, let's not act like blacks are behind because there's something in our genes that made us behind. It was against the law for us to even read and write until 160 years ago.
Okay, you notice where it says 160 years ago? That's 160 years ago, my friend. And so the idea that blacks have not been reading and writing for, almost 2 centuries is what he's saying right there. That's why the disparities exist today. Weird, because you know what happened with, say, Asian populations who came over here? They didn't speak English, and now they're destroying these tests. How about Jewish populations who, when they first arrived in the United States in the early 20th century, were actually considered low IQ because they couldn't read English? And now they are performing about 1 standard deviation. Ashkenazi Jews perform about 1 standard deviation above other people on IQ tests. Is that because of racial inequality and inequity, or is it because people learn to read and write? In other words, discrimination of the past and evils of the past are rectifiable, but only by individuals who actually go and do the work to overcome those objections.
That's true.
This notion that people are failing today in 2023, when it is literally illegal for black people to be discriminated against in the United States, that the failure is because people couldn't read and write 160 years ago. That it's so pathetic on every possible score. It's not true, and it's pathetic. Perhaps the best media moment of the day yesterday is one of the plaintiffs in this case is an Asian student who was on with Abby Phillip, and he just wrecks her. Abby Phillip is trying to make the case that it would be better if this Asian student weren't able to get into an institution of higher education despite scoring really high on the SATs, and he's like, no.
Because of affirmative action, Black Americans graduate from law school at the bottom 25% of their classes, largely speaking. And we don't want that. We want Black students to succeed. We want every student to succeed, low-income students to succeed. But you have to put them in scenarios, in places where they're likely to succeed. And lowering your standard to admit somebody of a socioeconomic status or race would not help them do that. In fact, it would harm their graduation rate and excellence.
Wow. Well, as the case also points out, the standard isn't necessarily lowered because students are all admitted. The question is whether race can be an added consideration, a tipping point.
No, the standard is lowered. The standard is lowered. The standard is lowered. As the student premier admissions data shows, an Asian has to score 273 points higher on the SAT to have the same chance of admission as a Black person. So the standard is lowered for Black Americans.
Oops. And you're just not going to get around that. But apparently that's okay. Because that Asian guy, after all, he's Asian. He isn't Black. So if he has to suffer according to the left, well, them's just the breaks. Them's just the breaks. And then presumably, a generation from now, then we can, do some affirmative action for Asian people or something. The never-ending carousel of racial discrimination will continue forever, and it'll just be awesome. Final take goes to Whoopi Goldberg, who comes up with the dumbest possible answer here. She says, "Will this lead to no women in colleges?" I don't even know how she gets here. And Whoopi Goldberg, that is a mind upon which inspiration springs. My goodness.
When you have a justice who says something as ridiculous as "I don't get it," it just makes a kid, an Asian kid, a Native American kid, a Black kid feel like you don't matter. Right. Like you don't understand why my struggle is hard, or your struggle, Is this leading to no women in colleges soon?
Is this leading to no women in college? Yes, nailed it, Whoopi. Women constitute a majority of current college and grad school enrollees, by the way. A sheer majority. Yeah, nailed it, Whoopi, as per our usual arrangement. Probably we should put her on the Supreme Court. Honestly, she can't write an opinion any worse than Ketanji Brown Jackson did. Alrighty, coming up, we are going to be joined by Coleman Hughes. He has a great piece on the end of affirmative action today. If you're not a member, become a member, use code Shapiro. Check out for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click that link in the description and join us.
Wow, you guys, that was such a lengthy one, and it was an eye-opener, and I just pray that one day all of this racism, Black culture, and whatnot will just come to an end. One thing I would say here is that merit is given to whoever works hard for it, no matter your race, your gender, your color. I have seen Black people in big places, and I have also seen white people in lower places. So I do not think that racism is the major problem in all of these things that we mentioned. I just feel that if you work hard for a particular position, you are just going to achieve it. And that is what Ben Shapiro is just trying to tell us, is that most of the subject raised by these people is not totally true, if I would say. I'll just leave it at that, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And I really had fun reacting to this. It was an eye-opener, and I enjoyed every minute that it lasted. If you guys totally enjoyed watching, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And this is me officially signing out. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.